Hey everybody, I'm Heidi from Hands Occupied here with another knitting tutorial for you today. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to do the magic loop technique in knitting. This is an incredibly versatile technique that just takes a really long cabled, so this part of the needle, you need a really long one of these to work the technique. Let me show you how to do it. In knitting, there are a few different ways to knit in the round, but with the advent of circular knitting needles in the 19-teens, new methods presented themselves for knitting in the round. Circular knitting needles are knitting needles that are connected by a flexible cable of varying lengths. Before circular needles, 5 double-pointed needles, or dpns, would often be used to knit in the round, especially at a smaller circumference. Circular knitting needles, and in particular the magic loop method that we're discussing today, allow knitters to use a single pair of circular knitting needles to knit a project at almost any circumference they wish. As you can see here, I have cast on a number of stitches on my circular knitting needles. To make this a project that can be worked in the round, we're going to need to do the following. Count your stitches to determine where the center of your work is. Then fold the cable of your circular needle in half in between those 2 stitches and pull at the cable to draw the needle tips into the 2 sets of stitches like this. Work carefully to ensure you don't pull your needle all the way out of your work in progress. Once the stitches are on the 2 tips of our circular needle, we've got to ensure that our cast on has not twisted at all during the setup process. To do this, look for the ridge at the back of your cast on and make sure it's all facing the center of your work. When you're ready to start knitting, hold your work in your left hand and confirm that the working yarn is hanging off of the back needle, the needle that is farthest from you. Next, you're going to draw out the tip of that farthest needle, leaving enough cable to form a little mouse ear on the left-hand side. Then you're going to insert it into the first stitch on your left-hand needle, just like you're knitting flat on any other project. Keep in mind that you don't want the distance between your front and back stitches to be too wide, particularly on the first couple of rounds. Pausing here, I just want to show you what this looks like mid-row. We've got 2 mouse ears, half of our stitches are on needle tips and the other half are on the cable. When we get to the far end of the first half of the round, we will run out of knitting needle, so it's time to adjust our needle tips and cable. Pulling on the cable, we bring the loose tip into our knitting. Then, we turn our work and are ready to knit the other half of the round. Again, the working yarn should be coming off of the back needle, and just like before, we draw the tip from the back needle out, forming a mouse ear, and then we can knit across the rest of our stitches in the round. As we come to the end of the first round, we can continue knitting as we've done so far, working across half of the round, adjusting our needle tips and cable, and then working across the other half of the round before doing it again. There are several advantages to the magic loop knitting method, including eliminating the need for double-pointed needles, eliminating the need for tons and tons of sets of needles, and opening up the door for things like knitting 2-at-a-time socks, for example. We've only knit a couple of rounds, but if we draw our stitches onto our cable, we can confirm that in fact we're working in the round and nothing is twisted in our magic loop knitting. Right here is what several more rounds worked using the magic loop method looks like. You can see that there's no laddering or gaps in between the stitches. If you're new to this technique and are struggling with laddering between some of your stitches, don't worry. I have another video planned on how to cope with that common problem in magic loop knitting. See those horizontal bars between the stitches? This is what I'm referring to when I use the word laddering. And that was how to work the magic loop technique in knitting. Hopefully you can now see how many different ways you can use this technique throughout your knitting career, so to speak. At any rate, if you've got any questions, go ahead and reach out in the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you liked what you saw and subscribe for even more yarn craft tutorials. I've been Heidi. Thank you so much for watching.